Hey Divi Nation, thanks for joining us in this live stream, and today I will show you how to create fixed mobile footer bars with Divi, and we'll use the Health Clinic layout pack. So if you haven't checked that out yet, make sure that you do. I've mentioned a link in the description below, and if you're not an Elegant Themes member yet, make sure that you check out Divi. I've mentioned a link to the product page where you can go ahead and discover everything for yourself. So without any further ado, let's get to it. All right, so let's start off by taking a look at the 3 different examples that will show you how to recreate within this live stream tutorial. So we'll start off with the first one. So let's be clear, these fixed mobile footer bars will only appear on tablet and phone, or you can only make them appear on phone as well if you prefer to do that. And for that, I'm just going to zoom in to increase the percentage over here and to be able to see it pop up. So this is what you'll get on a mobile device. This is the first example that we'll recreate within this tutorial, and let's take a look at the second one as well. So this is the second one. And obviously this will not take up this much of a part of the screen as it does on desktop because of the resolution that we have over here, but you just get the point. So this bar over here at the bottom will follow your visitors throughout the entire stay on the page. So you can choose which pages you add it to. So, just have a call to action that follows them around. Let's take a look at the third one as well. And this is the third one. So this will only appear at the bottom of the mobile screen, and you'll be able to test it out once you recreate it and then view it from a mobile device, and you'll definitely see what we're trying to achieve there. All right, so let's start with the first example, and to do that, I'm just going to use one of the health clinic layouts, and I'm using the landing page layout over here. So I'll just navigate to that page, but you'll need to create one for yourself and enable the visual builder at the top. So although we're using these layouts to create this tutorial, you can make this work with any kind of design you're working with, and you can, modify everything to make it look exactly the way you want to create your own kind of footer bars. And but the ones that we'll create will definitely match the overall look and feel of the layout pack, and you'll be able to use them right away with these layout packs. So the first thing I'm going to do over here is go to the bottom of my page and add a new section right here. All right. And I'm going to open in the settings of my section, and I'm going to remove all of the default custom padding over here by adding 0 pixels to the top and the bottom. And then I'll continue by adding a row, and I'll use 2 columns. I'll just switch over to wireframe mode really quick over here. So I'll be able to add that smoothly since we've, removed all of the custom padding. So we're just picking 2 columns over here, and then I'll switch over to Visual Builder again. And without, opening the, without adding any modules, I'm going to open the row settings, go to the sizing settings over here, and I'm going to make this take up the entire width of the screen by enabling the gutter width over here. Also, they make this row full width option. And I'm also going to equalize the column heights. And now that we have both of these, I'm going to open this section, go to the Advanced tab, and I'm going to hide this on desktop. So you can choose if you want to hide it on desktop only or on desktop and tablet, so it only appears on phone. I think you can leave it, leave it to show up on tablet and phone as well, without, disabling it for tablet, but, it really depends on your own preference. I'm just leaving it as hidden for desktop. And then I'll open the row settings again over here, and I'm going to remove all of the custom padding here as well. And last but not least, I'll go to the advanced tab and open the custom CSS tab over here, and I'm going to add 4 lines of CSS code, and you can find all of these steps and the code in the blog post, which I've mentioned in the description below. So you can, just press pause and take these lines, or you can just go to the blog post and copy them, and you can see everything written down there as well. So this will help do a few things. One of them is place the row to the bottom of the screen. The other one is make sure that it's on top of everything else. And we're also making it fixed so it follows visitors throughout the entire page. And then we're also changing the display over here to make sure that the columns, so the 2 columns, appear next to each other instead of below each other, which it sometimes does depending on the screen size. So this will make sure that the 2 columns stay next to each other. So now we can start adding modules. So the first module that we'll need is a text module, which I'll add to the first column. And over here you can add some copy of your choice. And then we'll go to the background settings, and so basically you can add whatever you want within this row, within these columns. We're just, placing a call to action for people to contact the owner of the website, but you can really make it your own thing and have it being fixed at the bottom of any mobile screen. So then we'll go to the text settings over here, and we're going to change the font to make it match with the one that's being used throughout the layout pack. We'll also change the text font weight. We'll use a white text color for it. 16 pixels for the text size, and -1 for the letter spacing. Then we'll also change the text orientation to center. Then we can go to the spacing settings over here, and we're going to add some custom values that will, give the module a little bit of space to breathe, I would say. So making sure that there's some padding on the left and right side. And I'm also going to add some rounded corners. So I'll add 10 pixels to the top left and the top right as well. And last but not least, I'm also going to add a box shadow, and this box shadow will make sure that there's a bit of depth between this fixed mobile footer bar and the rest of the content of the page. So it will create a little bit of depth. So I definitely like to add it. You don't really have to, but I feel like it gives that little extra touch that it needs. And then we can add a module to the second column as well, and we're going to use a blurb module, and this will include an icon. That's why we're using it instead of a text module. So we'll just get rid of the written content in the content box over here, and we'll give it a title. And then we'll go to the image and icon settings over here, and we're going to use an icon. So I'll just go ahead and find the email icon. Then I'll change the background color of my module as well. And I'll go to the icon settings. Let's change the icon color. Place the icon on the left side of the module. And I'm also going to change the font size to 19 pixels. Then I'll go to the title text settings over here, and again I'm going to use the font that's being used throughout the layout pack. Change the text color as well. Change the text size to 16 pixels and the letter spacing to -1 pixel. And I'll go to the spacing settings and again give my module a bit of space to breathe. And create the same kind of height as I've done with the module in the first column. So 20 pixels for the top, 10 for the bottom, 30 pixels for the left and the right side. And I'm also going to add the same kind of rounded corners to this module over here. So that's 10 pixels to the top left and the top right. Then I'm also going to give this module a bit of depth that we've mentioned before. And I'm going to increase the blur strength to 80 pixels, and this will just make it look really smooth. You won't really notice the box shadow that much, but it does the job. So it really helps create that contrast and the depth that you really need. All right, so we have the first one, and if I switch over to mobile over here, you'll see what that looks like. So I can exit the visual builder and again just zoom in on my screen so you guys can see the outcome. So here you have it. This was the first example. And let's move on to the second one, which is, let me just show you really quick in case you have forgotten. So this is the second one. And again, this is going to be a lot smaller on an actual mobile screen size. So this is just a zoom in on my desktop. This is why it looks like it's occupying a big size of my screen. So let's get started with this one. I'm just going to go to this other page over here. This is a new page. Again, I'm using the landing page of the Health Clinic layout pack. So if you haven't checked that out yet, make sure that you do. I've mentioned a link in the description below, and if you're not a Local Themes member, make sure that you check out Divi as well. I've mentioned a link to the product page. So I'm just going to enable the visual builder here as well. And I'm going to scroll down to the bottom and again add a new section right here, a regular section. And I'm going to open in the settings of my row and I'm going to remove the top and bottom padding by adding 0 pixels to both options over there. And then I'll go to the advanced tab and I'm going to hide it on desktop. As I've mentioned before, you can also hide it on tablet if you prefer to do so. But I'm just going to hide it on desktop. And then we'll add a new row and I'm just going to switch over to wireframe mode really quick because I don't have any space left there since I've removed the padding, and I'll just use 3 columns for my row. Then I'll switch over to visual builder again. Scroll down without adding any modules yet. I'm going to open the row settings and go to the sizing settings. Enable the make this row full width option and use custom gutter width as well. And again, this will allow the row to take up the entire width of the screen, which will, just stretch it and whatever kind of modules that you place in there. And it will just look really good. And I'm also going to remove the top and bottom default padding by adding 0 pixels there as well. And then I'll go to the advanced tab, and over here in the custom CSS box, I'm going to add these same kind of CSS code lines, which will help help it stick to the bottom of the page to make sure that it overlaps everything else so that it's on top of everything else, that it's fixed as well, and that the columns remain next to each other no matter the screen size of the mobile device. All right. So now we can start adding our modules, and we'll start with the first one in column number 1. It's going to be a blurb module. And And over here, I'm going to get rid of the content in the content box as well as the image that is being used. And I'll just give it a title. So email, and of course you can link it to whatever you want in the link settings over there. And then I'll go to the icon settings and I'm going to enable the use icon option, and I'll search for the email icon. And then I'm going to add a background color to the blurb module. And I'll go to the icon settings and I'm going to change the icon color to white. Make sure that the icon is placed at the top, and I'll also change the icon font size into 25 pixels. And then I'll go to the title text settings over here, and again we're going to make it match with the layout bag that we're using it with. So the health clinic layout bag, which you should definitely check out, and I'm going to use Work Sans as the font over here. I'm going to make sure that I'm using center title text alignments, a white text color, and I'm also going to reduce the letter spacing. So I'm using -1 pixels. And I'll go to the spacing settings over here, and again we're going to give this module some space to breathe, make it look really neat by adding 30 pixels to the top and the bottom. Then I'll go to the border settings, and I'm going to make sure that the value that I add doesn't apply to each one of the corners by disabling this option over here in the middle. Then I'll just add 15 pixels to the top lefts. And again, I'm also going to add some box shadow over here with a blur strength of 80 pixels just to create the depth between the fixed mobile footer bar and the rest of the page. All right, so once you're done doing that, you can go ahead and clone this module twice and place the duplicates in the 2 remaining columns. And we're going to change the first duplicate by opening it and going to the background settings over here, changing the background color. And then we'll go to the spacing settings. So this one will be kind of featured, and it will be a little bit put in a spotlight, and we'll be able to achieve that kind of highlight by changing the spacing values. So we'll use -20 pixels for the top margin, 50 pixels for the top padding over here, and 30 pixels for the bottom padding. So we'll leave it the way it is over here. So again, if you want to follow everything step by step and get all of the pixels or color codes, CSS code that we're using, make sure that you check out the blog post, which I've mentioned in the description below, so you can follow everything there step by step as well, written down. So over here, we're also going to add some pixels to the top right side. So we'll go to the border settings and we'll add 15 pixels to the top right. And we're done with the first duplicate. Then we'll open the third one. We'll change the background color into a entirely black background color, and we'll modify the border, so the rounded corner. So instead of having it at the top left side, we're going to add it to the top right side. All right, so we're done. Let me just save it, exit Visual Builder, and show it to you guys. So I'm just going to zoom in, and here we have it. Let's go to the third example. So the third and the last example that we'll recreate, and that's the following one. So this one is slightly different. So in the 2 previous examples, the thing that was fixed was the row, and over here we've made sure that the section is fixed so we can take advantage of the dividers, so the section dividers that you can see over here. So it's going to be a slightly different approach, but it's the same kind of method. So I'll go to this page over here and enable the visual builders. So we're using the health clinic layout back again. This is the landing page that comes along with it. And then we'll go to the bottom of the page and add a new section. So a regular section is what we'll use without adding a row to it yet. We're just going to open the section settings, go to the design tab, go to the divider settings, and we're going to add the top divider. So go ahead and find the following divider style in the list. Change the divider color into the following color code or any kind of color you want really, and increase the divider height. And then go to the spacing settings and add 0 pixels to the top and the bottom of this section. And add a box shadow to this section as well, again, just to create that bit of depth and the contrast between the mobile footer bar and the rest of the page. So we're increasing the blur strength to 80 pixels. And instead of adding the custom CSS lines to the row, we're adding them to the section instead. So we want to make this section fixed. All right, so over here, we've also added the width equals 100%, which is also important. And we'll hide this section on desktop, but again, you can choose to hide it on tablet as well if you prefer. So I'm just going to, just for the sake of the tutorial, I'm going to hide the footer really quick. So you can see everything that happens without it being interrupted by the footer. All right, so now we can start adding a row. We're using 3 columns. Without adding any modules yet, we'll open just a second. The page is saving. Nice, I'll just switch over to wireframe mode and add 3 columns over there. So without adding any modules yet, I'm just going to open the row settings and again go to the visual builder over there. Go to the sizing settings and I'm going to make the row take up the entire width of the screen by enabling the make this row full width option and using custom gutter width with a value of 1. And then I'll go to the spacing settings over here and I'm going to use 30 pixels for the top and 20 for the bottom. And then I'll go to the advanced tab and I'll also need to add the display equals flex option over here to make sure that the 3 columns appear right next to each other on any kind of mobile screen size. So now we can start adding the modules. So we'll start with the first column. We'll add a blurb module. Again, give it a title. We'll go to the image and icon settings and we're going to use an icon instead of an image. And we'll just browse through the icon list and choose the email icon. Then we'll go to the design tab, go to the icon settings, change the icon color into white. Make sure that the icon placement is stop and use 25 pixels for the icon font size. Then we'll go to the title text settings over here. We're going to change the font that's being used into one that's being used throughout the entire layout pack. We'll also enable center title text alignments, and we'll reduce the letter spacing with 1. Okay, so once you're done doing that, you can clone the blurb module twice and place the duplicates in the 2 remaining columns. And the only thing that you'll need to change is the icon color of the second blurb module over here, because it doesn't show up otherwise because the background is white and the top divider doesn't hit that. So here we have the third example, and of course you'll need to change the content that goes along with it into, you know, basically anything you want. Now I'm going to exit the visual builder and zoom in again so you guys can see the outcome. All right, so here we have the third example. So this was the third one. This was the second one we've created. And the first one. So you can follow everything step by step in the blog post, which I've mentioned in the description below as well if you want to do that. And you can create your own kind of creative fixed mobile footer bars using this approach in any kind of layout or layout pack that you're using, any kind of design style for any kind of website. Alright, so that was all for this tutorial. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. And we hope that you're enjoying this ongoing Divi design initiative where we try to put something extra into your design toolbox each and every week. Thank you for watching. We look forward to seeing you in our next video or live stream.